The signal from the stars. The stars above the Zalari research vessel. Horizon Seeker seemed cold and distant as Commander Ilara Vex stared out through the observation dome. Their light offered no comfort against the vast emptiness of uncharted space. The ship's engines hummed beneath her feet, a reassuring vibration that had become as familiar as her own heartbeat over the 3 cycles of their deep space mission. "Commander," called Science Officer Jarrell from his station, interrupting her moment of contemplation. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the nearby nebula." Ilara turned, her silvery skin catching the dim blue lighting of the bridge. The Zalari were renowned throughout the Galactic Council for their methodical exploration and scientific achievements. Their slender bodies and 4-fingered hands were perfectly evolved for precision work, their large eyes adapted to see spectrums, beyond those of most species. "What kind of signatures?" she asked, moving gracefully toward his console. "Nothing I've ever encountered," Jarrell replied, his brow ridge furrowed. "It's like the void itself is rippling." Ilara felt an instinctive shiver run along her spine ridges. The Zalari had explored countless star systems, cataloged thousands of celestial phenomena, but something in Jarrell's voice triggered an ancient warning deep in her genetic memory. "Full sensor sweep," she ordered, "and notify the Council observation. Post. We may need to request additional research teams." The communications officer, Tella, swiveled in her chair. "Commander, the nearest council post is 3 light-years away. Standard procedure states we should gather preliminary data before—" "I know procedure," Ilara interrupted, her voice firm but not unkind. "But something feels wrong about this. Send the notification." As Tella turned to her console, the ship suddenly lurched, throwing several crew members against their stations. Emergency lights flashed red across the bridge. "Impact on the lower hull," shouted the tactical officer. "We're being attacked." "By what?" Ilara demanded, steadying herself against Jarrell's console. "There are no ships on our scans." The view screen flickered to life, showing external camera feeds from around the vessel. What Ilara saw made her blood run cold. Dark, shapeless forms seemed to phase in and out of existence as they swarmed around the Horizon Seeker. They weren't solid, not entirely, more like tears in the fabric of space itself, edged with crackling energy that left scorch marks on the ship's hull wherever they touched. "Shields failing," reported the tactical officer. "These things, they're somehow phasing through our defensive screens." "Engines to emergency power," Ilara commanded. "Get us out of here! Maximum speed!" Versiert. Ship lurched again as the helmsman engaged the drive, but the sudden acceleration only seemed to agitate the entities. They swarmed more aggressively, their amorphous forms stretching to envelope sections of the hull. "They're draining our energy," Jarrell shouted, his fingers flying across his console. "Whatever they are, they feed on power sources." Another violent impact rocked the ship, and a support beam crashed down from the ceiling, narrowly missing Ilara. Smoke began to fill the bridge as systems overloaded. "Engine core is destabilizing," the helmsman reported, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We can't outrun them." Ilara made the decision instantly. "Tella, send an emergency distress call. Full spectrum, all frequencies." Tella looked up sharply. "Commander, Council protocol strictly forbids open-channel distress calls in uncharted space. It could attract unknown species." "I know the protocols," Ilara snapped, "and I'm overriding them. We have less than 20 minutes before the core destabilizes completely." She moved to Tella's station, fixing her with an intense gaze. "Send the call." Tella hesitated only a moment longer before turning to her console. "Sending emergency distress call on all frequencies, including the prohibited bands, adding our coordinates and sensor data on the attacking entities." As the universal distress signal, a mathematical sequence designed to be recognizable by any technologically advanced species, raced outward from the crippled vessel, Ilara returned to the view screen. The dark entities continued their assault, seemingly drawn to the ship's remaining power systems. "Now we wait," she said quietly, "and hope someone answers. The Council fleet will need at least 3 days to reach us," Jarrell noted grimly. "Then we'd better hope it's not just the Council who hears us," Ilara replied. What none of the Zalari crew knew was just how far their desperate call would travel, or who would answer it. On Earth, in the basement of the Allen Observatory in Apa, New Mexico, Dr. Samira Patel jolted awake at her desk. The insistent beeping of her monitoring equipment had interrupted her unintentional nap. She'd been working for 20 hours straight, analyzing data from deep space, searching for patterns, any patterns that might indicate intelligent life beyond Earth. For decades, humanity had been broadcasting signals into space and listening for a response. So far, the universe had remained stubbornly silent. Rubbing her eyes, Samira checked the display, expecting another false positive. What she saw made her spill her cold coffee across her keyboard. "That's impossible," she whispered, staring at the repeating pattern on her screen. The signal was unmistakably artificial, a mathematical sequence that couldn't possibly occur in nature. Her hands shaking, she initiated the confirmation protocols, running the signal through 3 different analysis algorithms. All confirmed the same result: first contact. Within hours, observatories around the world had verified the signal. Within a day, the news had leaked to the public. And within 3 days, an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council had been convened to decide how humanity should respond. Dr. Patel stood before the assembled representatives, her usual scientific detachment strained by the enormity of the moment. "The signal is unquestionably artificial and extraterrestrial in origin," she explained, pointing to the data projected behind her. "It contains a repeating mathematical sequence that serves as a universal language of sorts, followed by what appears to be coordinates in 3-dimensional space." "And you believe this is a distress call?" asked the Chinese representative. "Yes," Samira nodded firmly. "The pattern matches theoretical models for how a distress call might be structured. An attention-getting sequence followed by location data. The repetition and intensity suggest urgency." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization wasn't a greeting or a declaration of existence. It was a cry for help, even if we wanted to. "Respond," the Russian representative said, breaking the silence. "The signal originated from a system nearly 30 light-years away. By the time any response from us arrived, it would be too late." Admiral James Chen of the United Earth Space Forces cleared his throat. "Not necessarily." All eyes turned to the Admiral, a decorated veteran who had overseen the development of Earth's first interstellar ships. The Aurora-class vessels equipped with the Shaw Fujikawa FTL drive could reach those coordinates in approximately 2 weeks, he stated matter-of-factly. "We have 3 vessels ready for deployment with full crew complements." The French representative leaned forward. "You're suggesting we send military ships? Wouldn't that be perceived as an act of aggression?" "They're asking for help," Admiral Chen replied simply. "We send what we have." Debate raged for hours. Some argued that humanity should observe but not interfere in what might be an alien conflict. Others contended that answering a distress call was a fundamental moral obligation, regardless of who sent it. A few voices cautioned that the signal might be a trap, designed to lure unsuspecting civilizations. As dawn broke over New York, UN Secretary General Maria Santos called for a final vote. "We face a historic decision," she said, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "For centuries, humanity has wondered if we are alone in the universe. Now we know we are not. The question before us is simple. What kind of neighbors will we be? Will we turn away from a cry for help, or will we extend our hand across the stars?" The vote was closer than many expected. 97 nations in favor of sending a response fleet, 82 against, 14 abstaining. Within 48 hours, the UNS Defender, Intrepid, and Resolute were preparing for departure from the Luna shipyards. Each vessel carried a crew of 200, a combination of military personnel and civilian specialists. Their mission was unprecedented: respond to an alien distress call, render assistance if possible, and establish first contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. As the three massive ships engaged their FTL drives and vanished from the solar system in flashes of controlled spatial distortion, humanity collectively held its breath. They had answered the call. Now they would face whatever waited for them among the stars. And 30 light-years away, as the Horizon Seekers' systems failed one by one and the void entities closed in, Commander Alara Vex watched her crew prepare for the end, unaware that help was already on its way, from a species the Galactic Council had quarantined long ago for being too dangerous to contact. First contact under fire. The void between stars stretched endlessly before Captain Maya Rodriguez as she stood on the bridge of the UNS Defender. 14 days had passed since the three Earth vessels had departed the solar system, 14 days of hurtling through the fabric of space-time using technology humanity had only perfected a decade ago. 2 minutes until we exit FTL at the target. "Coordinates!" announced Navigation Officer Hiroshi Tanaka. His hands moved with practiced precision across his console, making final adjustments to their approach vector. "All hands to battle stations," Maya ordered. "We don't know what we're jumping into, so I want all systems at full readiness." Throughout the massive vessel, crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their assigned positions. The Defender wasn't just Earth's most advanced spacecraft. It was a statement of intent, built after decades of science fiction had conditioned humanity to prepare for a potentially hostile universe. If they found peace among the stars, wonderful. But humanity had no intention of being caught unprepared. Receiving confirmation signals from Intrepid and Resolute, reported Communications Officer Aisha Rahman. "They're in formation and ready for synchronized exit." "Good," Maya nodded. "Weapons status?" "Kinetic barriers at full strength. Point defense systems active. Main cannons charged and ready," responded Weapons Officer Derek Chen. "Though I hope we won't need them for a first contact scenario." Maya smiled grimly. "Hope for peace, prepare for war. That's gotten our species this far." The final seconds ticked down as the three Earth vessels prepared to emerge from FTL travel. Maya felt the familiar tension in her chest, that moment of uncertainty before a high-risk operation. Exiting FTL in 3, 2, 1. Reality seemed to stretch and then snap back into place as the ships dropped into normal space. The main view screen activated automatically, revealing the scene before them. "My God," whispered Dr. Eliza Washington, the mission's xenobiologist. Before them floated a sleek, obviously alien vessel. Its design was elegant, with flowing lines, that no human engineer would have created. But that beauty was marred by scorch marks and ruptures across its hull. And swarming around it were dozens of dark, shifting forms, like tears in the fabric of space itself, attacking the crippled ship. "Life signs?" Maya demanded. Dr. Washington studied her readings. "Definitely life aboard the alien vessel, but failing life support systems. Those entities attacking them don't register as life forms in any conventional sense. They're more like living distortions in space-time." "They're killing them," Maya stated flatly. She made her decision instantly. "Target those entities. Fire warning shots first. Let's see if they can be scared off." The Defender's main cannons discharged, sending lances of superheated plasma across the bow of the nearest entity cluster. For a moment, the dark forms paused in their assault, seeming to assess this new arrival. Then, as one, they abandoned the alien ship and surged toward the Earth vessels. "They're coming right for us," reported Derek. "Approaching fast, very fast. All ships, full defensive pattern." ordered Maya. If they attack, you are authorized to use lethal force. The entities accelerated, their amorphous forms stretching as they closed the distance. When they were within 10,000 kilometers, they released bursts of dark energy that crashed against the Earthship's kinetic barriers. Barriers holding at 92%, Derek reported. Minor system fluctuations only. These things are powerful, but our defenses were designed to withstand much worse. Maya narrowed her eyes. Return fire, full combat protocol. The 3 human vessels erupted with weapons fire. Advanced targeting systems tracked the shifting forms of the entities, while adaptive ammunition adjusted its properties to maximize damage against these unusual opponents. The dark void of space lit up as kinetic rounds, plasma bolts, and guided missiles engaged the enemy. The entities attempted evasive maneuvers, but faced with the concentrated firepower of 3 warships designed by a species that had spent millennia. Perfecting the art of warfare, they quickly began to fall. Some exploded in cascades of dark energy, while others seemed to fold in on themselves and vanish. Within minutes, the engagement was over. The remaining entities retreated, disappearing, into the nearby nebula from which they had emerged. "Stand down from combat alert," Maya ordered. "Damage report?" "Minor shield depletion only," reported Derek. "No casualties." Maya nodded, satisfied, then turned her attention to the alien vessel. "Hail them." Aisha worked her console, transmitting on multiple frequencies. "Channel open, Captain." "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the United Earth Space Force's Vessel Defender. We received your distress call and have responded to render assistance. Do you require medical evacuation?" For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, the view screen flickered, revealing an alien face. The being had silvery skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and delicate features. Despite the obvious differences from human anatomy, Maya could recognize exhaustion and shock in its expression. "I am Commander Ilara Vex of the Zehlari research vessel Horizon Seeker," the alien replied, its words translated through an advanced algorithm. "We are grateful for your intervention. Many of my crew are injured and our life support systems are failing." "We'll send medical teams immediately," Maya responded. "Prepare for docking." As the communication ended, Dr. Washington approached Maya. "Captain, those weren't just any aliens. The Zehlari are mentioned in theoretical xenobiology texts. They're supposed to be highly advanced. If they couldn't handle those entities, then we got lucky," Maya finished. "Or we brought the right tools for the job. Either way, these people need our help." Within an hour, human medical teams had boarded the Horizon Seeker. Despite their training in theoretical xenobiology, nothing had prepared them for the reality of treating actual alien life forms. Yet the fundamental principles of medicine, stop bleeding, maintain breathing, treat for shock, proved to have universal applications. Captain Rodriguez and a small security team followed, entering the alien vessel's command center where Commander Vex waited. The Zehlari was taller than Maya had expected, standing nearly 7 feet high on a slender frame. "Your medical teams work quickly," Vex observed. "We are in your debt." "We respond to distress calls," Maya replied simply. "It's what we do. Can you tell us what those things were?" Vex gestured to a damaged console, which projected a holographic display of the nebula. "We call them Void Reavers. They appear to be entities that exist partially outside normal space-time. This was our first encounter with them. They attacked without warning and were drawn to our power systems. They didn't much like our weapons," noted Lieutenant Santos, Maya's security chief. "Yes," Vex said, studying the humans with newfound interest. "Your response was remarkably effective. May I ask what species you are? Your configuration is unfamiliar to me." "We're humans, from Earth," Maya replied. "This is our first contact with any alien species." The revelation seemed to shock Vex. The Zehlari commander took a step back, her large eyes widening further. "Earth?" she repeated. "The quarantined world?" Maya frowned. "Quarantined? What do you mean? Vex seemed to struggle with how to respond, her slender fingers interlacing in what might have been a nervous gesture. Captain Rodriguez, there is something you should know. Your world, Earth, has been under observation by the Galactic Council for several centuries. It was classified as a death world and placed under quarantine. No contact was permitted. A death world? Lieutenant Santos echoed incredulously. Yes, Vex continued. Your planet's high gravity, diverse biosphere with numerous predator species, extreme weather patterns, and your species' own evolutionary history made Earth a prohibited contact zone. Maya processed this information, her expression hardening. You're telling me that alien civilizations have known about us for centuries and chose to leave us in isolation? To watch us without introducing yourselves? It is standard protocol for worlds classified as too dangerous, Vex explained. Your species evolved under constant threat, both from your environment and from each other. Your historical records show thousands of years of warfare. The Council considered humans too unpredictable, too aggressive, for safe integration into galactic society. A tense silence fell over the command center. Maya exchanged glances with her officers, seeing their own shock and indignation reflected back at her. And yet, Maya finally said, her voice carefully controlled, when you were in danger, our aggressive species is the one that answered your call and saved your lives. Vex lowered her gaze in what appeared to be shame or embarrassment. Yes, the irony is not lost on me, Captain. When faced with destruction, I broke protocol and sent a distress call on all frequencies. And it was Earth, the quarantined death. World! That responded! Before Maya could respond further, Aisha's voice came through her communicator. Captain, we're detecting a new ship entering the system. Much larger than the Zalari vessel, different design entirely. Vex's head snapped up. The Council! They must have detected my transmission. The approaching vessel was indeed impressive, nearly twice the size of the Defender, with an organic, flowing design that made human ships look brutally utilitarian by comparison. They're hailing us, Aisha reported. Maya squared her shoulders. Put them through. The view screen activated to show another alien, different from Vex. This being had greenish skin, six-fingered hands, and a high-domed head. I am High Counselor. Jen of the Galactic Council, the alien said, its translator already calibrated to English. Commander Vex, you have violated quarantine protocols by contacting a prohibited species. And you, it turned its attention to Maya, have left your designated system without authorization. Maya felt her temper flare. Without authorization? We answered a distress call, which is more than your council apparently did. And as for quarantine, Earth was never informed we were being quarantined, so we can hardly be expected to follow rules we didn't know existed. High Counselor Jen's expression was difficult to read, but Maya sensed discomfort. Captain, this situation is unprecedented. The humans were to be observed until they demonstrated sufficient cultural maturity for contact. And who decides when we're mature enough? Maya challenged. Who appointed the Council as gatekeepers of the galaxy? Before Jen could respond, alarms sounded throughout both the Horizon Seeker and the Defender. Captain! Derek's urgent voice came through the comm. The Void Reavers are back, hundreds of them this time. Maya turned to Vex. Can your ship move? The Zalari commander shook her head. Our engines are beyond repair. Then evacuate your crew to our vessels, Maya ordered, then faced the view screen again. High Counselor, unless your ship is heavily armed, I suggest you do the same. Those entities are coming back in force, and they've already proven they can breach Zalari defenses. As if to emphasize her point, the first wave of Void Reavers emerged from the nebula, their dark forms surging toward the assembled ships. High Counselor Jen's expression shifted to one of alarm. Our vessel is a diplomatic craft, not a warship. Then get behind us, Maya stated firmly. The quarantine is officially over. Earth has joined the galactic community, and our first act will be to defend it." As she turned to head back to the Defender, Commander Vex caught her arm. "Captain Rodriguez," the Zellari said quietly, "I believe the Council made a grave mistake in isolating Earth. Whatever happens next, know that my crew and I will testify to that effect." Maya nodded once, then strode toward the docking bay where her shuttle waited. Behind her, the evacuation of the Horizon Seeker began in earnest, while ahead, the Void Reavers approached, about to discover what happened when they faced the full might of humanity's determination to protect not just themselves, but their new allies as well. The Death World had answered the call. Now the galaxy would learn exactly what that meant. Different evolutionary paths lead to different solutions, Maya suggested. Humans evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We spent thousands of years fighting each other. But that created a species that runs toward danger instead of away from it. A species that answers distress calls from strangers, added Vex. The observation dome's door slid open as Admiral Chen entered, carrying a data tablet. "The Council vote just concluded," he announced. "The Sentinel Protocol has been approved. All member species will contribute to the new Rapid Response Fleet." Maya smiled. The Sentinel Protocol had been Earth's most ambitious proposal yet, a dedicated emergency response system that would ensure no distress call went unanswered anywhere in Council space. It represented a fundamental shift in how the galaxy approached security. Not just containment, but protection, Zhen mused. A concept so simple, yet it took a species from a death world to make us see it. "The quarantine has been officially lifted from the other 17 death worlds as well," Chen added. "First contact teams are being assembled, with human advisors for each mission." Maya turned back to the viewport, watching as the joint fleet executed a complex defensive formation. Ships of wildly different designs crewed by species who would have never met if not for a desperate distress call, and the humans who answered it now moved in perfect coordination. "One mistake," she said quietly. "Pardon?" asked Jen. "Commander Vex made what the Council considered a mistake, sending that distress call against protocol. We made what you considered a mistake, answering it with warships." Maya turned to face the High Counselor. "But sometimes mistakes are just the universe's way of showing us a better path." Zhen's expression shifted in what Maya had learned to recognize as thoughtful agreement. Indeed, the old council would have punished such mistakes. The new council learns from them. Beyond the viewport, a new vessel was moving into formation, the first jointly designed and constructed ship in galactic history. Its name was painted proudly on the hull in multiple languages: Unity. "The Council existed for 12,000 years before humanity joined the galactic community," Vex observed. "I wonder what the next 12,000 will bring." "Challenges? Certainly," Maya replied. "The Void Reavers may be contained, but the universe holds countless other dangers. But whatever comes, we'll face it together." As if to emphasize her point, an alarm sounded, not the urgent warning of an attack, but the measured alert of a new mission. "Distress call detected in Sector 9, announced the station's AI. "Mining colony reports geological instability threatening their main habitat dome." Without hesitation, Admiral Rodriguez moved toward the command center, followed by her colleagues. The Earth that had been quarantined for being too dangerous, too aggressive, too unpredictable, now led the galaxy's foremost humanitarian response force. One mistake, a desperate call for help, and the Death Worlders who answered it, had changed everything, and the galaxy was safer because of it. "Sentinel Command, this is Admiral Rodriguez," Maya spoke into the communication system as they entered the command center. "Prepare response teams and set course for Sector 9. We have people who need our help." Throughout Council space, similar responses were already in motion. A new protocol, a new philosophy, a new understanding that true peace required not just diplomacy, but action. The Death Worlders had joined the galactic community, and they had brought with them the most dangerous, most revolutionary idea of all, that the strong had a duty to protect the vulnerable, that distance was no excuse for indifference, and that when someone called for help, you answered, no matter who they were or what it cost. One distress call had reached humanity. The galaxy would never be the same again. The end.